Welcome to the Matt Beck Podcast. Woke up this way. He's got a lot of cool stuff he's gonna show you today. The latest news, industry topics, and business tips. For all hairstylists and salon owners, it's time to flip the script. Grab your precision scissors, barber combs, and swivel twist razors. Let's cut a bob, a quick shag, pixie cut with a little bit of flavor. Check out the live classes, product reviews, let's rock on. Don't forget to check out freesaloneducation.com. I woke up this way. It's gonna be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it. I woke up this way.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. And I'm frozen. And I knew I was going to be frozen. Had a feeling. One sec. Here we go. Let me close this out. Happy Monday. Trying to figure it out here. Quitting you. There's my phone. Hey, there I am. Awesome. Way to start this Monday, Matt. Good job. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. Today, gonna do something fun. We're gonna call this Matchup Monday again. This is the third Matchup Monday in a row. It's starting to get a theme here a little bit. Today, what I want to focus on is scissor and clipper cutting. So we're going to be doing some men's hair today. I think you guys will like that. And not only are we going to be doing men's cutting, but we're going to break down 5 different cuts in 2 different videos. And we're going to show clipper cutting and scissor cutting in your hands as well, so that you guys can kind of see the difference of what happens when you do that. It's good to see all of you guys in the chat. I see Lynn. I see Nim. I see Ashley. I see Paul. What's up, guys? What's up, Shalina? What's up, Laura? Thanks for joining. Kelly, what's up? Hair by Frankie. Awesome. Very cool. I see all of you guys in the chat. Keep blowing it up. Keep doing your thing. Obviously, weird start to the show, but we're going to keep this thing going. I got you guys here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So, Anise, what's up? Good to see you. So Lynn, I saw Lynn already posting that she has been back in the salon cutting. So a couple comments from her. I actually just want to share those real quick. She also said she can only stay for like 35 minutes. So she was saying, and you guys can ask her in the chat, but Lynn's been back in the salon, so a good person to talk to about different things and what we're allowed to do and what we're not allowed to do. She said she had to wear the mask. That seemed to be a struggle. And then she also said that, but she didn't have to wear gloves, I don't think. So pretty cool. So if you guys want to talk to Lynn in the chat, she's on YouTube. So if you're on Facebook, you might not be able to see it, but she did say that it wasn't too bad other than wearing the mask all day. So Lynn, thanks for the update on that. And if I see her post anything, if you want to post about it, Lynn, just post your feelings about it, and I'll repost that up on the screen for everybody. All right, so hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. Beautiful weather. Hung out with family. It was a lot of fun. And we're supposed to have pretty good weather for the next few days, so feeling good about that as well. Here's some stuff from Lynn. So she says your clients cannot come into the salon. They have to wait for you to come get them. That seems to be kind of across the board. So some of the salons that I've seen that have opened, you can have one client at a time. Any waiting clients have to be outside, and then you bring them in. You let them know when you're ready for them. Let's see. Tiffany chiming in a little bit. Had to wear a mask, no gloves, no temps taken. Good to know. And let's see. That's pretty much all I'm seeing right now. So if you guys are back in the salon, good job. I hope everything's going great with you guys. Let us know in the chat if you are back in the salon, things that you've had to change, things that are different, just your experiences. Love to see that. Obviously we're all in this together and we're going through the same thing. I'm in my salon, hasn't been open in 2 months now, so it's just crazy stuff. So all clients wanting house calls, that's a little bit, I've experienced a little bit of that, but it hasn't been too crazy, but people are definitely getting restless at this point. So All right, cool. So we're gonna play the first video. This video is all about clippers and cutting with scissors and cutting with clippers. What is the difference? You guys can kind of form your own opinions. What do you like to use? Do you use clippers most of the time when you cut men's hair or short hair, or do you go scissors? Let me know in the comments. Also, like always in this show, if you're new to the show, if this is your first time, then type new in the comments so I can say, hey, what's up? And then also, if you have a question, type the letter Q, a capital Q, and then put your question after it so that when I get back from the video, I can start answering your questions and I can find them easily. So that's pretty cool. All right. What's up, Jem? Watching from Toronto. Welcome. Washington State looking at June 1st opening. Hopefully, right? Soon enough we'll all be open. All right, cool. So let's get into the first video. I want to share some education with you guys, and then I'll be back and we'll do some Q&A, and then we'll go into another video. We'll just keep this show rolling. So make sure you share this video with your friends. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Let's get started. All right, guys, so the sectioning is very simple for this haircut. Most of my men's haircuts are a U shape on the top. So I'm going from parietal ridge around the mid crown and then back around the parietal ridge area. It's just section off the top from the bottom. Now, what we're going to do with this cut, and like I said in the beginning, was we're going to do half of it with scissors, half of it with clippers. So the first part is the scissor portion. My goal with this haircut was to create more of a grown-out feel. So what we're going to do is straight layering, seamless layers, so pretty much everything straight out from the head. The only part that's going to have a slight buildup of weight is right around that parietal ridge area. That has more of a 45-degree angle, so you're going to see that graduation happening, but we'll deal with that later on in the cut. So I'm taking each section ½ inch at a time and working my way through the side of the head. Now, we're working a little bit blind. This is the more difficult side of the haircut because I'm scooping the new hair towards the guideline. I think a lot of us would just start combing forward because that is a little bit easier. So let's say from the but it keeps you inconsistent because you would always be pushing your guide into the new hair instead of pushing the new hair into the guide. And that's going to create different lengths, inconsistency in your guideline, and then you're going to get to the other side of the head and it's going to be a completely different length. So in order to keep consistency, you want to comb and scoop. So I take a parting down, and then as I work towards the back of the head starts to peel away even more. So I'm showing you right here, as that crown bends away, now I have an even different angle to work with. So I want to make sure that I'm well aware of that angle. I'll lift up a little higher elevation when I get towards the back crown area. Not too much more, but just a slight bit, which will give me a little bit less graduation in the crown. I definitely don't mind a slight buildup of weight in the crown, but I don't want it to be super heavy and not fit the haircut that I'm going for. So work my way back, nice high elevation, then my finger angle shifts down, follows the head shape, parallel to the head shape, all the way into the nape of the neck. I would say the biggest challenge with this cutting in your fingers is that you start to pull away from the head because naturally you don't want to be that tight in. And what happens is then you end up with nice long hair in the back that you got to go in with the clippers and cut anyways. Keeping your sections nice and clean, you can see how clean that parting was all the way down the head, sectioning, pushing it all the way away, clipping it away if you have to, and just that'll help keep your work nice and clean. You can also see I adjust my scissor the way I'm holding it. That helps me cut a little bit tighter in. It keeps my wrist straight so that I don't end up with wrist problems later on. And it just keeps me more consistent. So I'm working my way all the way to the middle of the head, clipping that away. Again, like I said before, that keeps me nice and consistent throughout the cut. So check out that angle right at the top mid crown area. When I do that first cut, that's where the weight is, and then everything else is nice and seamless all the way down. So because we're elevating the hair, what's going to happen in the nape area is no matter what, we're going to have some kind of like extra length happening. So we're going to go in and detail that dry. So I don't want you guys to worry about how much length is happening down there. I like the texture that we're creating, but I am going to go in and fine tune it in the dry cut. So finishing up the last parting in our scissor cut portion of this haircut, you can see the texture, you can see the seamless layers that have been built in the haircut. I think when you cut in your fingers, you have a lot easier time with your elevation. So for me, it's just kind of easier to see it happening when I'm working with this length of hair. We are going to go in and do the clippering as well. But real quick, I'm going to go through and just cross-check everything horizontally. So we cut everything vertically. So now I just want to check my lines horizontally, do a little scissor over comb. I switched to a wider tooth comb. So I was using a 339 comb. I went to the 334, just has a little bit wider teeth, a little bit stronger, fatter comb. And I used my Mizutani Solid 7-inch scissors to do the scissor over comb work. Now I'm going to use the Supra ZR clipper. This is from Andis. It's a motorized clipper, super powerful. And I'm using my YS Park 209 comb to go through it. And I'm working horizontally. So this is the big difference between what I did with the scissors. I went in vertically. With a clipper, I like to go in horizontally. I can work my elevation throughout there, just making sure it's nice and high, parallel to the head. And I work my way up the head shape. Then I can go back in, maybe a diagonal back feeling to it, which I will, but it's just a lot easier to work with a clipper horizontally. Some of that extra length, I'll grab it up in my hand and put it into the comb and then cut it off just to get myself started, and then I'll work my way up the head shape the same. So the difference between the two techniques, if we look at scissor cutting and clipper cutting, there really isn't that big of a difference. We're holding the hair basically the same. I created texture both ways. So really, I think this is a personal preference thing. For me, there's not that big of a difference. I can work faster with clippers because I'm used to working with clippers, faster than I work with scissors. But you know, somebody that only does scissor cutting, it's totally cool. You can do it that way as well. I think both ways are great. I like to go in with the scissor cutting every once in a while because it trains my mind to think that way and to work through it. For some of you, you don't like using clippers, so it's a great way to attack the haircut as well. Now I'm in the crown area and I'm point cutting. I went back to my DB20 scissor from Mizutani. Love this scissor. Check it out on freesaloneducation.com. But this is basically my go-to power scissor for all the haircuts that I do. Unless I'm doing scissor over comb, I like a little bit longer scissor. But this point cutting, I'm over directing the hair back to the previous section. I don't want to push a bunch of length into the front of this haircut. What I wanted to do with this cut is have a traveling guide that worked my way all the way across the top of the head shape, keeping the hair nice and short. I almost want the top to mimic the side length. So the side length will be a little bit shorter, but not that much shorter. I want this to feel like more of a grown out haircut than a disconnected top. I don't really want that. I also want them to be able to wear it kind of messy and not have to worry about it flopping over and being too long. So as I go through it, I round off the corners on the layers and then just don't do too much over direction. Even this little bit of over direction that I'm doing right now in the very front, I'm going to counteract that with some dry cutting techniques when we get into that portion of it. So you can see it already wants to stand up. Now I go in, I blow it dry. I'm using my 209 comb from YS Park. This one's got nice wide teeth. It's the same comb I use for the clipper cutting. And I just power dry it, laying the hair down pretty much the way that I want it to. You can see me running the blow dryer nice and close to the scalp. That's a real quick motion just to lay the hair down. And now I'm going to go in with my Mizutani puffin, do some dry cutting work around the edges. Now I like a little bit of the extra length behind the ears, so I'm just going to round this off slightly, take up the nape a little bit, but then do some point cutting techniques, lifting the hair up, point cutting into it to shatter it, but I like that extra length in the back. I don't want it too tight. Same thing on the opposite side, pick the hair up in the 209 comb, do a little bit of point cutting in there. Great thing about the puffin scissor is that it has got those nice fat thick blades on it, which is great power for cutting dry hair. A lot of scissors get weak when they're cutting dry hair. Puffin's great for utilizing that power all the way through it. Same thing in the temple area, sideburns. I lift it up and I cut into it using that point cutting. This is very freehand all the way through it, even lifting up the hair around the ear and cutting. I don't scoop out the ear. I let that hair kind of come over it a bit. All of that's going to build into the texture of the cut. I like seeing this as more, like we said at the very beginning, it's a grown out looking haircut with a lot of texture, and it's just a really cool style. So So now to finish it off, some more dry cutting techniques. We're going to go through and point cut. I know we did the point cutting in the wet cut, but wet hair sticks together. It becomes more clumpy, so you take out more weight that way. So when you go through in the dry cut, you're just taking out fine little hairs throughout the point cutting technique. So that's just going to help build in some of the texture and lighten up the ends of the hair. So when you put product in it, the hair stands up nice and easy. I'm also going to work the round of the head, do some point cutting in there as well. Same idea, just going in, keeping the scissor very vertical. I'm not trying to take the hair shorter, just trying to remove some of the bulk from the ends. Last technique, I'm going to do slide cutting. I love any slide cutting techniques. This is with the Mizutani puffin, so it glides right through that hair. Slide cutting just to add a little bit of short pieces to the bang area, which we talked about before. This is the carved texturizing from Mercado. It's a nice light hold. This will give you that bedhead look without having a really extreme hold. Like, you don't have to worry about when you have longer hair, putting this product in your hair and having it pull your hair or anything like that. It's got a nice hold to it, but it's not super strong. So just gives you that nice lived in textured look. So the product really brings the cut to life. I also want to give a shout out to Jason. He's one of our FSE partners. In the middle of this cut, he was asking, what is the difference if you were to cut this with clippers over scissors? So when the footage failed, it kind of worked out, and we got to show you guys both angles of the cut with clippers and also with scissors. So hope you guys like it. Definitely let me know in the comments below what you thought of this video. I might do some more comparisons, so if you want to give me some ideas for different comparison videos, go ahead, shout them out. Thanks for watching, guys. All right. So, this is the most hilarious broadcast ever. What's up, guys? The struggle's real on this end. I don't know if, I literally cannot do anything but laugh. The whole time I'm trying to figure out how to fix things from breaking. So I hope you guys are enjoying this show. This is a Monday mess, is what it is. Awesome. All right, so we did have a few questions, so let me just get into those. I can do that well. I know I can answer questions well. So Susan's saying, can you do a men's cut with a Donald Scott carving comb? Absolutely. I actually might even be able to show that this show because I have one. And since things are going so well, I feel like I can just pull off anything. So let me see if I can get one of those to come up. I got a modern bowl cut that I cut with a razor. It's very similar to my cut, but with a little bit more texture. Some disconnections, pretty cool. So I can show you that. Let's see. I know there was more questions. So let me look for the cues. Look for the cues. Here it is. What do you do with hair that has several whorls in the crown? I usually leave it longer, but still wants to stick up. So this is something that I've talked about in the past, Kathy, but I think that the key to the swirls and whorls is length. But what you need to do is teach the person how to blow dry it. Because the length's going to help you control it. It's going to help gravity keep it down, but it's all in the blow dry. And I know a lot of guys don't want to blow dry their hair, but I always coach my guys that are in my chair. If they have a problem and they don't like it, like some guys embrace it and like it, some guys hate it. And if they hate it, you just got to teach them to do a 5-minute blow dry technique that's going to help push that down. So working the whorl in the direction that it wants to fall. And that's how you do it with the blow dryer. So if it wants to stick up, like if it's here and it wants to go like this, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow dry it either down, depending on the length. If it's hanging over like this, I'll blow dry it down and just kind of work it in its natural form and leave that length on the cut. So that usually tends to work for the guys. You know, some guys have it very extreme or multiple whorls. It's all in styling. And a lot of people don't understand that. They think they can just take, especially guys, they can take their wet hair, throw some product in it, and and it's going to be good to go because of the cut. And that isn't the truth. Cuts do not make hair behave. So just make sure that you teach them how to blow dry, and they'll be good to go. And then Jenny was saying, can you please share some advice on having one still blade move and one moving blade? Okay, so Jenny, here you go. So I have my scissor, and the way that you practice to have a still blade is very simple. first things first, you have to make sure that you can figure out how to wedge the scissor in your hand so it doesn't move without your thumb being there. So a lot of us rely so much on the thumb being in the scissor blade like this, right? But what you want is you want a steady blade just like this, and then I shift the blade of the scissor back into my hand just a little bit, and I add my thumb in, and then I can just move that steady blade up and down. Now, this is a motion that you just have to practice, and it'll become very natural for your hand to move like this. And then when you point cut, your hand will move like that. When you cut on top of your fingers, your hand will move like that. When you cut inside your fingers, your hand will move like that. And it's just that motion of the open and close. So think about it this way. You've got your pinky on the tang, right? Then you've got your ring finger in. So that starts to push the scissor up. And then you push down with your middle finger. And then that creates that wedge. And then once you have it, and I'll use my pointer finger as well in there. Once I have that wedge, then I shift the blade in towards my hand, add my thumb, and then you've got your steady blade and your moving blade. And then you can practice cutting, and then just practice like with a comb, practice combing, like pretend. You don't have to have a mannequin. Like this is stuff you already have at home. I'm sure you brought your scissors home. So you could sit, watch TV, and literally practice combing, bringing the hair up, putting the comb in your hand, bringing the scissor out, and cutting, right? And then you can work on that steady blade staying across your finger so that you don't cut yourself. And then you have, you can switch and practice cutting on top of your fingers, just like that. You can practice cutting on inside your fingers, and you just keep continuing that motion. And that's like a good way to practice this hand movement so that you constantly can move your hands and you don't even have to think about this stuff. So the fact that you have a mask on or whatever you have going on in your day, all of this just becomes very natural in your hand as you're cutting. So that's the key to that. So hopefully that helps you out in there. Let's see. I can't wait to get my hands on hair. I did the tease technique in the air. Laugh out loud. All right, Lynn, there you go. Hey, what's up? We got a Periscope Twitter comment. Always practice while driving back and forth from Cosmo School. Stacy, I hear you. I remember being in cosmetology school and on my drive doing the same thing, just kind of working the scissor in your hand, because you could sit, I mean, obviously don't get into an accident, but you can sit there and as you're driving or watching TV or whatever you're doing, like you can practice this motion, just moving the scissor blade and working and getting that memory into your hand so that it becomes easy. All right. Snowden sounds easier than it looks. It sounds easy because it is easy now, but it takes work, right? So everything takes practice and work, and you gotta learn it, and then it is easy once you learn it. Let's see. I love seeing all of you guys in the chat, like sharing your Instagrams and all of that stuff. It's just super cool. I love seeing you guys making the bonds. Like that's what this show is all about. If we could just sit here and you guys can connect together, it's just super cool. Let's see, another question. Akash, what's up? Good to see you again. What benefits of teasing hair before highlights, and what's the difference without teasing, and which techniques should I use in which case? I'm actually going to do a show based on this week. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it, but I want to do a foil. I got to do some color this week. We didn't do any last week, so I want to do a show on the different types of foiling techniques and things like that. So I'm doing research right now, trying to gather up whatever I can, and then I'm going to break down all of that stuff. So let's save that question. But okay, just to quickly answer you, if you tease the hair, it takes away some of the hair. So then when you paint on the hair, you're painting on less, right? So the tease diffuses the amount of saturation, if that makes sense. And we'll go more in depth with it this week, I promise. So Jenny's saying that makes a lot of sense. Awesome. Cool. All right, let's see. All right. Good one, Natasha. Community. That's right. Speaking of community, the FSE Now app is up and going. let me show you guys some stuff here. Coming over, of course, my screen's not there, and I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do that. It's gonna be fine. I was loving Ecamm last week. This week, a little rough to start. Okay, so here we go. So this is the FSE Now app. This is a profile. I'm actually gonna show you guys somebody's better profile, but let's look at like Lynn, for instance. Let's just shout out Lynn. Even though Lynn's profile picture is sideways, Lynn, we have to figure that out. But Lynn is building a great profile on our app, which has, and she must have deleted the photo, but it has all of your information. Lynn's maybe not the best example. We're working on Lynn, getting her going here. So let's see. Let's check out some more peeps. So you can see you build a beautiful profile. What this profile does, it has all of your information, all of your work. It goes onto our stylistlocator.com website. So if you're not a stylist and you're looking for a hairdresser, go to stylistlocator.com and you can search your area and this profile would pop up. And then you can call, text, send a message to the stylist and book an appointment with them if you like their work. Now, also on the app, not only can you post your work and we have this beautiful community going, thank you to everyone that does submit their work, Emma and, you know, everybody, Tessa, Johnny, Lynn, Ashley, everybody on there, Melissa. So, thank you to everybody for submitting. I love looking through here and seeing all of your work. But then we also have all of our latest videos, videos from Sam Villa, videos from Paul Mitchell, all different companies. All of these shows that you guys watch every day, the live replays are on the app as well. So you can really just look through all of the videos and learn, share your work, and that's what it's all about. So go join FSE Now on the App Store. We're going to get started with the second video. It's going to be 3 haircuts in one. So I think you guys are really going to dig this video. It's 3 men's cuts. So we cut the side the same and then we do 3 different tops. So I think you're going to like it. Let's go. Here it is. All right, guys. So 3 different men's cuts in one video. The way that we're going to do this is I'm going to cut the sides first. The sides are going to be pretty generic to fit all 3 haircuts. So we're going to do a nice kind of medium length taper on the sides, starting out nice and short. So what I do with every men's cut is I go through and I blow dry with my comb first. So we shampoo them, get all the product out of their hair. Now I'm going to go through and take out all the bulk using my number 2 blade with the Andis Supra ZR clipper. I like using the metal blades as opposed to the plastic guards when I'm taking out a lot of bulk. So this allows me to work quicker. It's a motor-driven clipper blade as opposed to a magnetic clipper blade. What that's going to do is just give me more power, more drive power behind it. So it's easier to work through that hair. So if you're ever trying to run your clipper through the hair and it gets stuck, a lot of times that has to do with just the power of the blade. So the Supra ZR is cool because it has multi-level speeds to the blade. So you can actually move the blade really fast when you want to go through the haircut quickly. And then you can slow it down if you want to do a little more detail work. The faster you go through a haircut, the more steps that are going to be involved in the haircuts. You want to go through nice and slow, but also be efficient at the same time. Now I'm going to go through using my, this is a YS Park 337 comb and my Mizutani 6.5 inch blacksmith fit scissor. What I'm doing is blending that weight line. So as I was going through with the clipper, I was following the ridge of the head from the just below the recession point down to low crown, and that kind of gives me that diagonal back feel to the weight line. I really like that in men's cuts. It's one of my favorite ways to kind of just follow the head shape through. You'll see it in a lot of men's cuts that I do. I also think it's very on trend to do that as well. And so I'm going through just lifting and taking out some of that weight with my scissor. I love doing scissor over comb. A lot of you have asked for a video of just scissor over comb. I'm probably not going to do that. The only reason I won't do that is because it's not something I do in the salon. I do a lot of clipper work on the sides. Then I go through with scissor over comb. I like doing both techniques for 2 different reasons. I need the speed in the salon, and I like working efficiently. I like going in, taking out that bulk, and then going through and doing my detail work with scissor over comb. So I'm going to move in, just detail the sides with the trimmer. Obviously, you would customize that to your guest. So with the mannequin, he kind of has a square back, but if you wanted to round it or do whatever, you can customize that for your guest. So we finished the sides. Now we're going to start with our first look. You can see it's a long disconnected top. I love this look. I think it's very popular in the salon right now. So we're going to go through step by step. I'm going to show you how to blend this. So we're going to start in the back, mid-crown area, working vertical and over-directing everything to the previous. So I'm working my way around the crown. Notice the way that I comb the hair. I'm combing the hair away from my body towards the guide so that I don't lose my guide, I don't move my guide from where it lives, and I just keep that pattern going through. So you're going to see now as I turn, I comb and I push the hair away. A lot of people would just keep pulling that and gathering it together, and a lot of those haircuts that you guys see on Instagram or you see that just have those really, really clean lines to them, the reason for that is because they're being so particular with their sectioning and their blow drying and the styling and the finishing of the men's cut. So I just work my way through, staying very consistent and following the round of the head. So key thing as I'm going around the corner, I'm following around the head the entire time I work through the crown, but then once I get to that corner right behind the right ear, then I start over directing everything straight back to me. So what that's going to do is start pushing that length towards the front and give me all that extra length in the front. The other thing that we're doing is we're building up extra weight over the parting. So my finger angle is adjusted so that the longest point is at the most inside point of my finger. So my fingertip is more of a blend feel in the back, and then the inside of my finger at the very top is a longer portion. So then what we're going to do is we're going to create a nice solid hard line on the side of the head. The reason I like to do this, it just gives my haircut a nice clean look in the end result. So I'll go through, just take that horizontal section all the way through the top, bring it over to me as a stationary guide. That's going to give me my nice clean line. Then when I go through and style it, you'll be able to see that clean line, just gives the haircut more definition. Now I'm going to go through with my comb, lifting the hair up, blow drying it back, blow drying the hair exactly the way that I want it to live. This is a good thing. If you're a guy watching this and you don't do hair, this is a great way to style your hair. Make sure you use that blow dryer. A lot of men, if you're not using a more greasy product, if you don't blow dry your hair, most men's products nowadays are water soluble. So basically what that means is if it touches water, it starts to kind of disappear, doesn't work as well. So you want to use that blow dry to get the hair set where you want it and then go in and put your product in. We're going to use Roozle for the first style. This is the pink Roozle. It's a nice firm hold to it. It gives it a nice sleek look. It's not a wet product, but it does have a nice little medium sheen to it. And then I go through and I comb the product into the hair. I think this is something that we've lost along the way through the textured movement of men's hair and all of that. But go through and just comb the product through the hair to get it nice and evenly saturated, and then you get that finished look. All right, guys, so this is haircut number 2, and the big difference between this haircut and the previous one is it's disconnected in the back crown area, but it's more connected on the sides and in the front. So the front gets a little bit longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by working in the crown area. We already have our sides cut, so feeling good about that. We used our 2 blade for that. Now I'm going to go through, blow dry the crown area, working that back and forth. This is my 339 comb from YS Park. It's got nice tight teeth, and I work that crown area to get all those cowlicks kind of worked out and laying in the natural fall. That's going to help me work more efficiently. Also, I don't like either clipper over comb, clippering, or scissor over comb work on wet hair, because wet hair is not going to really tell me the truth. And as I go through, I don't get as blended of a line because the hair clumps together more. So as I work through the back, I'm doing a scissor over comb technique. And the reason I chose scissor over comb, you could just kind of buzz through this with a clipper. I think that's what a lot of people do. And it's one of the reasons why I don't really love this haircut when I see it on people sometimes, because they go all the way through the crown, they buzz all the way up, and then it becomes too disconnected. They cut the crown way too short, and and then those cowlicks kind of start peeking out in just different ways. And some people just cut the cowlicks completely off. I like scissor over comb because it allows me to decide what kind of length I want, especially around the cowlick area. Because if they have kind of a crazy wave pattern or growth pattern in the back, I like to work through that. Now what I'm going to do is go through and blend. We're going to work, whether you call it vertical or horizontal, straight through the back, and over directing everything to the previous section. So complete blend all the way through, but again, watch my combing, how I comb everything to the guide. So on the left side, I combed everything towards away from my body, and then on the right side, I comb everything towards my body. So we're going to continue working through the top of the head, taking a little section by section. Staying organized is the most important part. And what I want to do is I want to create extra length in the front, like the image or the picture that you saw at the beginning. So what I'm doing is I'm shifting my elbow up, which is shifting my finger angle and allowing extra length in the front of the haircut. Notice again my combing, so I'm combing everything towards the guideline. And now as I work down this side, I do the same exact thing. So over directing everything towards myself to the previous section. Now we're going to work into the front. And now you have to pay attention to the fact that the head shape now shifts. So I shift my elbow up in the mid part of the haircut to add that extra length. But now through the front, I don't want to shift my elbow up. I want to cut straight across because the head shape starts to shift down. So I don't want to, if I shifted my elbow up at this point, it would leave the front way too long and it would throw off the style. So I'm just following that head shape now, letting the forehead do the over direction for me. Same concept with the combing, staying very consistent with that. It's going to help him when he's at home recreate this style very easily. So now I'm combing away from my body towards the guideline. So you can see the length, the amount of length in the front of this haircut. If I were to lift that elbow, you can imagine how much extra length would have been there. It would have had way too much length to fit the style. All right, so that ends look number 2. We're gonna style it up now. So I'm going through blow drying with my 339 comb, really working any of those cowlicks out. You can see the short feel to the crown of the hair, and also using that comb to pop up the front of the haircut. You can see that the style is almost there already, and then all I do is just go in and add that Ruzel. This is the green Ruzel, has a little more of a thick feel, a little wetter feel, and not so firm of a hold, but you can see how it's nice and sleek in the crown and then pops right up in the front. Obviously, you could take this haircut shorter or longer to fit your guest, but make sure you do that, customize it for what they're looking for. And this is the other style with the same exact haircut. So I want to give you guys kind of a bonus. In GQ magazine, which is where I got all of these looks from, there was more of a sleek kind of wet feel to this style as well. So I'll show you that now. So you can see how it's just kind of slicked over. It's the same exact haircut, same exact guy, but they just slicked it over. So it's kind of a neat look for it as well. Now, we're going to go through with our third look, which is a little more of a normal look. This is for your, older clientele or somebody that's not looking for quite that much disconnection, just a nice sleek haircut. So what I'm going to do is just work that round of the head. And instead of all the over directing back that I did in the other haircuts, all I'm doing is bringing it back to the previous section. So not as much extreme over direction and going through using a point cutting technique. And the reason I'm point cutting is because I want to add a lot more texture to the top of the haircut. Following the round of the head, remember, even though I'm following the round of the head, that hair is still going to fall a little bit heavier on the corners. So it's not going to give it a round feel because weight still has to build up somewhere. It's just going to make the weight build up a little bit softer. So just know that if your guest has, a really high density of hair, a lot of times they want you to follow the round of the head because it will give them more of a square look in the end. So just point cutting through, over directing back to the previous, still at this point. Using point cutting with the scissor. This is the Ichinino San #1 scissor from Mizutani. It's a 5.5-inch scissor. I'm going through, it's got the gold finish on it, just over directing back. Using the forehead again at this point, the curve of that forehead, over directing it back to the previous section is actually giving me extra length because the forehead has that kind of curved down feel to it. And then I go through and I blow dry with my comb again, work out all those cowlicks, and I'm going to go through and style it with a finishing product. So just working, you can see that I use the nozzle of the blow dryer. A lot of people throw away that nozzle. I think nowadays it's a little more popular to keep it on there, but guys got to realize that if you use that nozzle, you can see how it just lays the hair down exactly the way I want it to. Now we got the styles set. We go in with our Ruzel pomade just to kind of finish it off. and add those little finishing touches to it, showcase that parting in there. But it's a nice sleek look. So I hope you guys liked all of these different cuts. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you liked them all, which one was your favorite, and thank you guys so much for checking out this video. All right, so what'd you guys think of that one? 3 different cuts, 1 video. The sides are all cut the same, so some of you guys that were just tuning in, the sides were all cut similar, and then I went through and did the top 3 different ways. So if you guys want to watch that video back, you always can. You can also watch it on our FSE Now app for free. So go on there, create a profile, all that stuff. I did have a couple questions. Few extra people on Twitter today. I'm kind of excited about that. Don't have a big Twitter following. So if you want to follow me on Twitter at Salon Education, I'd love to be more active on there, which I should. I'd probably have a better following, but it's all right. So Brandy is saying, if you wanted the front of the hair shorter, what if you wanted the front of the hair shorter, but when you do, you're unbalanced in the middle? Hope that makes sense. That does make sense. So if you did the front shorter and then the back and then the middle of the head became longer because you cut the front shorter, I would probably most likely cut the middle a little shorter. Like, I don't think I would want the front shorter than the middle, because the middle, well, that's not true actually, because there is a couple haircuts that I love doing that I cut almost like a cropped front, and then I have a longer disconnected middle kind of coming over top of it. So I guess it depends on the style. But in a typical haircut, if I wanted a straight up men's cut, then I would make it even throughout. And you got to be very careful because of that curve of the head. You're working with probably longer hair anyways, so I would try to cut that as, straight across the top as possible, and then be aware that the head curves forward so you get extra length no matter what anyways. So the middle's sometimes a good place to kind of start just lowering your elevation, like your descent a little bit as you're coming through the front, just to get so you don't have too much extra length. Tell me about the gold shears. I did go into that on the video, but just in case you didn't catch it, the gold scissors were a limited edition scissor that we made with Mizutani for free salon education. You could still get a gold finish on scissors through our website, but they're custom and they normally take 60 to 90 days, but because of everything that's going on, it takes longer than that. So hopefully we'll do a limited run again and you guys can just purchase them up like we did last time. That would be pretty cool. So also, what are my favorite clippers? My favorite clipper right now is the Andis. I don't have it with me and I don't know what it's called, but it's an Andis. I don't like a corded clipper. Again, I'm not a barber. I work in the salon, so I do a lot of longer men's cuts. And by longer, I mean like my length on the sides, not super tight fades. So I like the Andis cordless basic clipper, and then I buy those purple guards with the magnetic clip on them. That's something that I'll show you guys sometime, because they're pretty cool. So I'm gonna have one more haircut coming up for you guys. I want to do one with the carving comb because you guys asked for it. So I do have that that I've loaded up for you. And then also we got a question here: is it necessary to use different combs? I think is the question. I like using different combs because you get different types of tension, right? So let's just say I don't have a lot of choices right here in front of me, but you've got your wide teeth combs, you've got your fine tooth combs. Fine tooth is going to give you more tension, especially if you're working in tighter places and you're trying to get more even feel to the clipper work. So if I scoop up with a comb and I slide that clipper over, the tighter teeth are going to hold the hair in place better, so it doesn't move back and forth. Like if I hold the hair up in this wide tooth comb and I slide across, that hair is going to move in those teeth. So I'm not going to get as straight of a line. So depending on what you're looking for, depending on your result, I would base that on my comb choice. Let's see. I just love sharing the Twitter. Oh, it's Stacy again. What up, Stacy? She's like, how many people are on Twitter, Stacy? Let me know. I don't think I can see that. It doesn't show me how many people. The sides being the same was a huge help. That's good. I'm glad to hear that, because that's the thing with men's cutting. Like, a lot of times the sides aren't really that important. If you know how to do a basic side on a haircut, I mean, they are. If you're a barber and you do tight fades, the sides are really important and they're different. But in like longer men's cuts, salon reality men's cuts, you could call it whatever, longer haircuts, the sides are pretty similar, and then the top just really makes the style. So glad you picked that up from that. Is it easier to blend with scissors or clippers? I think it's just as easy with both. It just depends on, some people find it easier with different ones. For me, it's pretty much the same. So I don't really, like, there's not one way to point you in what direction. Scissor over comb might be a little bit more difficult for people, but if you're comfortable with your scissor and you're good at moving just one blade, then it's pretty simple that way as well. Drying before blending the crown was great too. Natasha, that's cool. Would like to see cuts for receding hairlines. That's great. We should work on that. I actually think I have a couple videos that I filmed with that. So maybe we'll do that in the future for sure. Where can I get a men's mannequin at? That mannequin I used today was Pivot Point. So if you go to Pivot Point's website, just Google Pivot Point. If you're in the US, Canada, for sure, I know you can order it. I'm sure you can order it in most places, but Pivot Point makes really great mannequins. Also, another fun fact about Pivot Point men's mannequins is that they have a higher density on the sides, so it allows you to do more fading. Like those mannequins that you saw me work on, they were not those mannequins, and they looked really bald when I started to cut them shorter, which doesn't give you the best look. Now they're thicker and they're made for doing more fade work and stuff. All right, let's see. All right, cool. Male mannequins are so ugly. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. Somebody made them. Blame the designer. That's what I do. I blame the designer. Can you explain degrees, please? I think I can explain degrees pretty easily. Here's our bald head, right? So everything off of the head shape is 90 degrees, right? So the key to understanding head shape is understanding elevation and degrees is understanding where you're at on the head, right? So if I'm here on the head, it's 90 degrees all over this point. This is all 90, right? If I drop to here, I start graduating the hair. And what does graduation mean? It means that there's going to be a buildup of weight somewhere in the haircut. If I lower it just this much, if I'm here, it'll be seamless. If I'm above it, it's going to be layered, right? So the key is understanding where you're at. If I'm here, this is 90. So this is all layers. If I go here, I start graduating. I start building up weight. So when we cut layers in a haircut and we start to see that heavy shelf look in the layers, it's because our last cut, the last bit that we cut, was below 90 degrees. And so if I cut this below 90 degrees right here, it's going to fall about right here heavy. It's going to start heavy and then it's going to layer from there. So it'll be a heavy bump and then layering. So if you want it to completely go away, you got to make sure you're at 90 or above. And it's the same thing on the side. So now when you look at the top of the head and I'm here, right? So vertically, I'm at 90. And then here, what am I doing horizontally? Am I bringing it back towards the back of the head? And what's going to happen when I do that? When I pull it back to the back of the head and I let it go, it's going to swing to the front, right? So now I've got a layered cut because it's at 90. And now I'm going to push the weight to the front because I'm over directing it back. So that's, again, hair cutting in a nutshell. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. All right. Nice, Jenny. I like that. I like it. It's been on my phone. Hair art webpage is good for mannequins as well. Hair art webpage is good for mannequins. They do have some good stuff and good prices and everything. I've just always worked with Pivot Point because I know the core of the people. I don't know the core of the people at hair art, but mannequin creation can be a nasty thing. And I don't have the card, but on every Pivot Point mannequin, they have this whole basically there's a code that is the ethical part of making mannequins, because some people get paid very, very little money to work 24 hours a day, sewing in, because all of this hair that gets put into a mannequin is put in by hand. It's an art. So people get paid in certain places very little money to make those mannequins, and that's why a lot of times you can get them cheap, and that's why a lot of times they're very expensive. So if somebody's getting paid not well, but they're getting paid a good salary to do it, and they're getting treated more like an artist to do their art, then there's a code that you have to be certified in, and Pivot Point is, and it comes on every mannequin. And I think that any company that follows that code would be shouting it out because they know it's the right thing to do, and they would want to tell their customers. If they're not telling their customers that they have that code, then there's probably a reason for that. So I haven't looked into other hair mannequin companies, but I do know that Pivot Point does follow that guideline, and that's why I would spend extra money, and I know it's a good mannequin, on those mannequins and not other ones. Hope that makes sense. Cool. All right, so I got one more cut for you guys, and then we're going to call it a day. I've really enjoyed my time with you guys. I think you're going to like this haircut. It's not super long. It's about 5-minute video, but it's definitely a fun one. So here it is. Enjoy it, and let me know if you have any questions. Here it is. All right, so welcome to the video. Today we are going to focus on a men's haircut with a razor, and we're going to use the Donald Scott carving comb. You can see that there's a fine tooth version. There's also a wide tooth version. So what we're going to do for this cut, it's going to be a nice lived-in haircut with a disconnected top. We're going to call this a modern take on the bowl cut. So I had a bowl cut all growing up. My mom would cut a bowl, basically put a bowl on top of your head, cut around it, shave underneath, and that was like the coolest cut back then. Today what I want to do is show you guys a little bit more of a modern version on that. A lot of people wearing disconnected haircuts. So what I do is I take diagonal back partings. I use the comb on the razor to do that, and I hold it straight out from the head. And then what I do is I just pass that razor along. I'm keeping the razor at a 45-degree angle. It doesn't matter what razor you're using. If you're using a feather razor, whatever it is, you want to keep that blade at a 45-degree angle. That's going to give you a nice smooth glide. You could see how I'm not carving through the hair. I'm just sliding the razor across, and I get my lines. This is such a quick way to cut hair, guys. Like, a lot of people don't pick up a razor. I'm not sure why, but when you pick up a razor and you just take it and you can go right through it, it's almost like cutting with a clipper, but you get more movement, more texture into it. So I really like this tool for that. So you can see I'm just keeping everything pulled straight out from the head. Now, when I get up into the crown area, that's when I'm going to start to over direct it a little bit further over. And what that'll do is it'll push that weight to the crown right above the occipital bone. So what I want to do is just build up that extra weight. So notice I basically move into a stationary guide at this point, and I bring everything down and over. Now we'll tighten up everything around the nape, just keeping my finger angle flat with the head. So make sure your finger angle is following the head shape. Now I move the opposite direction, diagonal back on the head, combing everything straight out. Key thing here is just to make sure that you do not lower your elevation, especially at this point. A lot of people, as you start to get tired or you're just working through the haircut, you start to lower your elevation naturally. You got to keep in your head that you want to stay elevated so you don't build up extra weight on one side. You want to have a nice even haircut. So notice I keep just cleanly continuing through the haircut, and then when I get up to that crown area, that's when I'm going to move into my stationary guide. Also right here you can see that connection point. So I brought the one side over diagonally, now I'm going back the other way diagonally, and I'm just connecting those 2 points to keep everything nice and even. Now this is when I move into that stationary guide. So notice now my elevation does drop. I'm keeping it in that one spot and bringing everything over to me. Now because we did that on both sides, right, it brings the heaviest point to that center back, and that's gonna give me a nice shape to the head. Now I'm gonna go in and connect the top. The way that I like to do this is just by passing that razor, a nice medium stroke with the razor, back and forth. A lot of texture to this cut. This is a great cut for straight hair or curly hair because you can really create a lot of movement into it and lighten up the heaviness. So just going through. If my client had fine hair and I was gonna do this cut, I might not choose this tool. I would probably go with the scissor, do a little bit more of a point cutting technique on the top of the head. I wouldn't mind doing the razor on the sides with fine hair, but I would keep it a little bit longer, and then I would go through with the scissor and do my disconnection just because I don't want it to be too shattered. So you can see that's where the bowl cut effect comes in. What I'm gonna do is go into the sides and just shorten them a bit because that massive over direction that we did on the top really pushes a lot of length to the front. So you just go in and kind of carve it and decide what length you want right in the front there. So now I'm just finishing up with a little bit of detail work with my scissor. This is the Matt Beck Scissor version 1. It's a limited edition scissor made by Mizutani, designed by me. So if you guys are looking for that, I only have a few left. You go to freesaloneducation.com and you can pick one up. So now just a little scissor over comb work. Notice how I just kind of glide that comb across the head, just cleaning it all up and connecting everything together. Now I'm going to hit it about 80% dry with my Express Ion Turbo Light Dryer from Paul Mitchell. And then my product choice is the Maverick Original Pomade. It's a medium hold, natural shine, water soluble product. I love the shine on this product, but also it does have a really nice hold. It says medium, but for me, like especially with thick hair, thick curlier hair, I really like a nice hold, and this has that hold for me. So nice shine. You can see the end result. It's a really cool modern take on what a bowl cut is. Hope you guys like this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Hit me up on social media. Everything at Free Salon Education. Thank you so much for watching. All right, so what'd you guys think of that video? Seems like you like that one. I swear to you guys, my brain is not functioning today, but we made it. We made it an hour, almost an hour. I have no idea what is going on with my head, but had a lot of fun. Still had fun with you guys. It's Monday, so that could be it. Had a great weekend, so that could be it. I don't know what it is. But I loved seeing all of you guys in the chat. I love seeing all of you guys blowing everything up, talking to each other about everything. That was really a great time. So I'm glad you like the razor. I'm telling you, Donald Scott Carving Comb is a game changer. It's $39, and you can get it on freesaloneducation.com or go to shopfse.com, and you can pick it up. There's a wide tooth version like this, and there's a fine tooth version like this. I'd get both if I were you. We have a new shipment coming in. I know that we're out of stock on something. But new shipments coming in real soon. Should be in this week. So if you guys want one, go ahead and order. If you don't want one, don't order. It's okay. And yeah, Janelle, you're very welcome. Kristen says, great show. It's funny because you guys probably will like this show because it was full of like, I want the show to always be perfect, obviously. I don't want any hiccups. We were frozen at the beginning. That was a little bit of a... And then all of a sudden, I couldn't get my phone to show up, and then I wasn't on there. So it was a little... today was a little weird, but you guys probably like it. People like real, right? Always having fun during the show. Awesome, Ashley. It's great. Tiffany, thank you. Can you buy the comb in Australia? Currently, no. And here's the deal. It's Mizutani's fault. I'm going to be honest. Because we should... Actually, what I should do is not sell Mizutani scissors and just sell carving combs worldwide, because I'd probably make a lot more money doing that, and you guys would be super happy. Love the bloopers. That's right. I love the bloopers too. I don't want you guys to think, like, I did have fun today. It was fun. It's just sometimes you wish you could have the beginning back just to, like... Because the beginning's like the first impression, and you guys have been, you're like OGs of the show at this point. We're 20 episodes in. This is 4 weeks. Another thing I was thinking about, which is kind of weird, is that this show is now on its 20th episode. We're pretty much a month straight into the show, doing it every day. And not one day of this show has my salon been open. And that's weird. So, can't wait. Let's see. I like clipper classes the best. Snowden, awesome. Don't sweat it, Matt. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. Another day, Matt. Have a great day. That's the truth, Nim. That's the truth. All right. Hey, real quick, guys, go download the FSE Now app. Here it is. All right, so go download the app, FSE Now, download it on the App Store. Just go to freesaloneducation.com, and you can see the links right on the very front page to download the app on whatever device you have. Join the conversation with all of us. If you guys felt left out in the chat because this is your very first time watching the show, it's probably because we're a community, and we're on the app together, and we're doing this thing together, and we're building this thing together. We built this city. And then... So go do that. And then also, before I go, don't forget to text me. Let me make this go away. This phone number, 215-608-2612. 215-608-2612. Text me. Just say hi. That starts our conversation. And then you're going to get a text back from me that says, what do you like to learn? And you can text that back. And then we're together. That's another community that we have. And anytime I go live or I have a new video out or a new feature in the app or whatever it is that I feel like I need to tell you guys, any text from that point on will come directly from me, from my phone to you. So text me, 215-608-2612. And that goes straight to my phone. I can't even text. Jess, it's okay. You're connected. You're connected. Great show, nonetheless, Matt. And actually, Jess, have you tried texting this number? Because this is different than the old number. So let me know. Joy. Oh, wait. That's not Joy. Take that away. Also, it's hard sometimes to convince my guest that he needs product. Laugh out loud. Men want a look. Then they say, what do you mean product? I think education. And I'm going to leave you guys on this. Education. Anytime. Actually, it's not weird because texting is like the future of everything. So don't feel weird. It's not stalkerish. It's just the future, and it's the easiest way. Because here's the deal, and I'll go back to the other question. But sorry, that was squirrel a little bit. Texting is so great, and the reason I want to get all of you guys on text with me is because when I send out a Facebook message or I send out any kind of message on any social media platform, Instagram, whatever, they only show it to some of you. They don't show it to all of you. When I text you, I talk to all of you. So it's the best way for us to communicate. It's not stalkerish. It's just an easy way when something new is going on for me to just hit a button real quick, send you out a text and be like, hey, look at this. I'm going live, or I'm doing something new or whatever it is, and I can let you guys know, and you all get the message, right? Well, this video straight up. Not sure what that means, Snowden, but this video will be available again for replay, and all the videos in this video, which is what's cool about this show, go individually. All these techniques go individually onto the app, so you can watch them on there. We built this city on scissors and combs. That's a good song. If somebody could create that song, that'd be hilarious. I would love to play that on this show. All right. So you're welcome, Kristen. You're welcome, everybody. Snowden, see you tomorrow. Ashley, see you tomorrow. Jess, see you tomorrow. All of you guys, you're all awesome. Can't wait to do this show again tomorrow. What do you guys want to see? Let me know in the chat. What do you want the show to be about? I'll take a look at that later as I put together the ideas for tomorrow's show and customize it for you guys, because that's what this show is all about, you guys. So what do we say at the end of this show before we go? It's going to be a great day. And Lynn usually writes it right away, but she's not here. She's at work now. Back in the salon, guys. We're getting back. We're going back to work. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Monday. See you soon.
It's gonna be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it. I woke up this way. It's gonna be a great day. Chop it, clip it, spray it, flip it. Let me show you the way. It's gonna be a great day.